Well, hey everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey everybody, Cantonese Cat here. I'm gonna try to be as informative and yet as concise as I can. I do want to make a little bit of a longer video. The reason why that is because I will be traveling this week and I may not have as predictable a schedule. So I'm gonna try to do as much as I can to share my thoughts. We're gonna look at the lower time frame chart here. This is Bitcoin. Is an 8-hour chart, and this is again square that I've drawn, and you can just take a look and see how remarkable symmetry you had ever since the August scare on August 5th right there. You drew again square as I did. You can see a very remarkable market symmetry where it just kind of gravitates from one arc to another and back test. And right now we're hitting a little bit of resistance here around 66,000. I think that this is also a resistance level because it was a resistance level right around here for a while, and this is also the target of this double bottom over here, which has been achieved. Now, because of that, I do wonder whether or not we're going to end up having a little bit of a cool down here, maybe even kind of ride the arc down here a little bit, or maybe get into the arc, potentially ride it down a little bit, or it gets rejected, it goes down, back test to 64,000 range. I think all of these are possibilities. Regardless, I still think that this overall looks very much of a bullish look here, just because you basically have all of these cups right here and they're getting smaller and smaller, and you're really getting to the point that it's having more and more demand and the supply is getting eaten up. So I do think that these are looking better and better for Bitcoin. You just look at the weekly chart here, right? I got the weekly chart for Bitcoin, and if I do a Gann square, you can also see that the entire time ever since the cycle bottom here, it has just really been just gravitating towards these arcs over here, and we've been stuck in these arc here for about what, like almost 8-9 months now. The potential for us to break out about this arc is there this week. And you're also doing this on increasing positive momentum here on the wave trend oscillator. And right now you are getting above this arc over here. Now, again, this week is nowhere near close. It's only Monday. But you're also breaking back through this angle and you're breaking through this arc. I think it's probably end up gravitating up to the 71,000 range. Is it going to get there immediately right away? No. I mean, I think it's possible with the short time frame it can potentially come back down a little bit further. You might get, ejected here at the arc. It might get rejected at an angle, get everybody all scared again before going up there. But do I think that it has to chop? Like, a lot of people think that we just kind of have to keep chopping here forever. And it has to kind of keep going down the arc here again, going to 57,000, going to 56,000, where, might end up hitting the Ichimoku cloud over here again, around like, even like 59,000. Do I have to think any of those things is going to happen? No, because I think it's chopped enough. Everybody's used to Bitcoin just doing nothing. Everybody's used to Bitcoin just chopping sideways. So I think we're at the point at the juncture where everybody's used to seeing something that's probably not going to happen again. And it's initially also kind of really scared a lot of people too, because it's really look like it could be a distributed top, but I know that it's not, because of increased global liquidity, because of where we are at the cycle. And one other thing too is I think we have a very similar fractal that we have over here as we do over here, where things are just kind of gone sideways for months and months, getting everybody all disinterested, everybody all scared, when it's just kind of stuck between resistance and support level. Here, same thing, it just kind of gets stuck in resistance support level. And right now we might potentially be breaking out because we've finally kind of broken underneath the bullish support band and broken back above of it. And when you do that, last time things went pretty nicely for Bitcoin. We might be at the juncture of doing the same. We basically just kind of broke down below, grabbed liquidity underneath here as much as we can, and we broke back above. Looks like it wants to run up a lot higher. So that's really what I'm kind of seeing here with Bitcoin. Now, I do think that the breakout is probably more likely to happen. I don't necessarily think that it has to go back down on the 8-hour chart to, get rejected down. I do think that most likely the next move is going to end up maybe going sideways here a little bit, and the arc is going to break into the arc. That's what I think, right? But we see how it plays out. So far, I'm really liking the Bitcoin price action. And as I was saying a couple of weeks ago too, I really do think that we have more support here than resistance. I really think that if we were to go down, it was probably just going to be a wick last week, and that's exactly what it turned out to be, just a big giant wick into a huge number of support zone over here, found support and bounced, right? If you ask me what if support doesn't hold, well, that's not a very good argument, because at support you're supposed to be bullish. So I just want to move a little bit on to what I think about what happened today with MSTR down 5% and the miners and Coinbase, everything else just kind of, beasted, right? Is MSTR done? The answer is no. Like, if you look at the monthly chart, this is basically what's been happening. The 1.618 is a very, very important level, and it got rejected last time, and it's getting rejected here for the month of October. Do I think it's going to push up and go to 2.618? Yes. Is it going to happen probably over the next few months or so? Yes. I do think that that's going to happen, but is it that great of a move for it to go from 200 to 300 or 400 or 500 or even like 800? Is it that great of a move for it to make? Are we getting potentially a little bit exhausted here on the bull trend of MicroStrategy? We might be, because the lower Bollinger Band is starting to kind of contract here a little bit, So I think we probably still have another leg up. I have actually like very little doubt that it's going to push through 1.618, probably also 2.618. I think it's going to go up a lot higher. What gives me the confidence? Well, I just kind of showed you guys in another video where whenever you have something that's being flipped on a higher time frame from resistance here to support here, which is the tank in the kitchen, the blue line and the red line over here, you basically flip this from resistance into support. And when you do that, things get really bullish, right? And I think that most likely is going to end up keep on going for another like 12 months or so. I think some of the higher targets probably end up getting hit. But do I think MicroStrategy is going to give you the most gains moving forward? That I really don't know. As we enter mid to late cycle, I generally, especially if Bitcoin enters its all-time highs and go into price exploration mode, and also IWM, which are a small cap index, Russell 2000, which is a small cap index. If IWM ends up like beasting as well, making all-time highs again, the miners, which are really like small cap Bitcoin leverage plays like Combo 1, 2, if both IWM or Russell 2000 small caps and if Bitcoins are both making all-time highs, like the miners are just going to go insane because of the euphoric sentiment that could come. A lot of people think that, yeah, they're diluting, that's why price is not going up. I think it's actually just been consolidating. It's pretty normal cycle behavior so far. If you ask me whether or not there are any signs that MSTR is going to end up rotating to miners, I mean, that's kind of what you're seeing here today a little bit. Is it going to keep going? I don't know, right? I mean, I think it's going to be a little bit of switch back and forth here. MSTR is going to outperform miners for a day, and then miners going to outperform MSTR for a day. And eventually, overall, is going to end up I think the miners are going to end up outshining MSTR moving forward. Why would I say that? A couple of reasons. One is that's kind of what happened last cycle, right? I mean, I don't have to really tell you, like last cycle, MSTR peaked around February 2021. It never made a higher high again. Whereas the rest of the miners, like Mara, continue to make peaks higher in like November 2021, right? Bitfarm continues to make highs, even though I guess it never really reached the previous wick right there. But Cypher continued to make the all-time high in September. So MSTR in general, it behaves maybe a little bit more of like a early cycle leverage play, but as Bitcoin continues to hit higher and higher, as Bitcoin continues to end up getting distributed, MicroStrategy might also end up having an exaggerated distribution too. So I think that that's kind of what happened based on the cycle behavior. You also look at the charts. I'm going to let the charts kind of do their talking here. Now, what I would do is I'm going to put up the wave trend oscillator, and I'm going to be looking for a number of divergences. So I'm going to put up a number of really interesting charts here, which is Mara over MSTR chart, a 2-week chart. What do we see here? Well, we're starting to see a little bit of a downtrend of the Mara over MSTR ratio in the setting of having a little bit of a bullish divergence here. Like the wave trend oscillator is not really pumping, like going down that much further anymore. You have a little bit of a bullish divergence here when the ratio continues to go down, right? This bullish divergence has really been building up for about 2 years now, and it could be extremely powerful whenever it ends up playing out. Another way to kind of show you other potential bullish divergence. Bitfarm's doing the same thing. Bullish divergence been building up for about like 2 years. The Cypher is also doing the same thing. You have bullish divergence here building up for the entire year already. So a lot of these kind of bullish divergences that's been building up. Now, why do these bullish divergences matter? Well, this is how things bottom. What do I mean by that? Well, let's look at SPX. How did SPX bottom last time from the bear market of 2022? It bottomed from bullish divergence on the 2-week chart here, with price gone down and the wave trend oscillator has gone up, right? It's just kind of how powerful these kinds of bullish divergence can be. It really, here's another example in terms of how did the S&P 500 bottom during the Great Financial Crisis. It bottomed on a 2-week bullish divergence with price gone down and the wave trend oscillator gone up, right? So you shouldn't underestimate these kind of bullish divergences. And when you see them, it does make you think, is there something that could be transpiring soon? Now, in addition to that, just kind of look at the weekly chart here. If I look at the CleanSpark over MSTR chart, you can see that the wave trend oscillator, pretty brutal downtrend, by the way, but you can see the wave trend oscillator is really flipped positive here. It's really trying to flip positive. It's really flipped positive over here. So I think that it might be time for CleanSpark to do one of these moves that just kind of outshine MicroStrategy moving forward. The other miners are doing some very similar thing. For example, look at Mara over CleanSpark. Mara over MSTR chart is trying to curl positive. So a lot of these miners are trying to kind of hold their own against MSTR, although so far it's been looking like a very much of a parabola downwards when you're talking about these racial charts. But I think at some point parabola has just kind of got down so much that I think things are just way overextended to the downside. And I think that you are at a junction, a point where things just are just way too oversold here in terms of the miner over MSTR chart. So that's kind of one thought. The other thought is, why do I think the miner is going to do well? The answer to that is really have to kind of look at the individual miner charts. And there's a lot of miner charts to go through, so I'm not going to want to go through all of them, but I do want to talk about some generalities here. First of all, if you just look at the monthly chart, I'm not going to use the GAN or anything like that. I'm just going to look at the monthly chart here, for example, of CleanSpark. It is holding support at a rising 20-month moving average and flipped from resistance to support. These things are bullish. Mara, same thing, flipping from resistance to support, 20-month is rising, bullish, right? Bitfarms, what is it doing? Backtest the rising 20, so far is holding pretty well. Cypher, what is it doing? Backtest the rising 20, so far is holding pretty well. Iron didn't even bother going down there. It was already backtesting it for months before, and it looks like it just wanted to go up higher. Wolf doesn't even really want to go up there anymore. I mean, it kind of just went through, backtested a little bit, and just wants to keep going higher, right? BTBT, same thing. It is basically backtested the rising 20 and is holding, right? So all of these miners, with the exception of somebody like Riot, it's just kind of broke down, but this is one of the exceptions rather than the rule. Even HUD8 is holding its own. It's holding a rising 20-month moving average, curling up. So a lot of these miners are, I really do think that they have bottomed from the recent slump. Even for CleanSpark, which has gone through some pretty brutal correction here. I do think that this is wave 1 and wave 2, by the way, which means that wave 3 is coming, and wave 3 can be extremely powerful. But that might just be, me just mooning, talking here. I don't know. I know nothing. A little bit of bullish engulfing look over here so far. There's just a lot of things that tell me that I think that the miners have bottomed. And I've talked about all these things before too. For example, I think that if you're looking at some of the long-term averages, like the 100-week moving average, CleanSpark has flipped that from resistance to support almost perfectly and bounced up very nicely, right? Mara is doing the same thing. It was really flipped it from resistance here to support. It looks like it wants to go up higher because of that. So a lot of these charts are really kind of showing you very similar thing. Even Cypher is the same thing, right? I guess it really wasn't like resistance per se. It was just using looping up as support. And because of this, it has a very nice move that it just looks like it wants to kind of go higher, right? So I cannot really be that bearish on any of these charts, and just kind of look at the market structure. It looks like it's like a big giant cup with a handle. It looks like a head and shoulder with a back test of the neckline. It looks like a head and shoulder or a back test of the neckline here with Bitfarms. Cypher just looks like a big giant cup with another cup and another cup and another cup. It's been trying to really eat through the zone, and whenever it's through that zone, it's going to be pretty powerful breakout. Iron has just been making cups and handles on the way up. Wolf, same thing. It's just been making cups and handles on the way up. So on the overall market structure, all of these mines look extremely great. If I pull up the Gann chart here, it really looks like you found a confluence at the 0.5 and the angle here. And it looks like the angle has also been flipped from resistance here, back tested support twice. There's a lot of market symmetry here that makes me think that I think we have really bottomed, right? Both in terms of the moving averages on the monthly and on the weekly, as well as just looking at Fibonacci level and looking again. A lot of confluence tell me that I think CleanSpire has already bottomed. A lot of confluence tells me that I think Mara has also bottomed too, like the 0.5 Fib level has been holding. Mara has been just more or less kind of range bound between 0.618 and 0.5. I would like to see it break back above the horizontal line over here, but I think that Mara has bottomed again. I cannot be more certain here, because it flipped a very important resistance level from resistance to support, right? It was support over here, broke down resistance, and now we flip it to support. It just looks like it wants to go higher. So even Bitfarms, you're talking about a confluence of 0.5 Fib level, and the angle here so far is holding. Cypher back tested the arc over here and held its own, bounce up and back test the arc, right? I mean, like, these all look like they bottom. Iron went up, got rejected here. The angle came back tested the arc. It looks like it wants to break through the arc. Wolf, I mean, basically just got rejected the arc here, came back tested the arc over here, which is completely normal behavior for it to break out above an arc and get rejected on an upper arc, back test a little arc. This is completely normal behavior. What did it do after that? It just bounce, and so far as holding the angle up, right? So all of these are really telling me that all these miners have very good market structure. They are looking like they want to go up higher, and I just don't have much else to like really say about it. Now, if you're asking me where the targets are, now that gets a little bit tricky. I do want to point out that a lot of the miners are holding, or a lot of miners are showing that 0.786 is a very important level. And just in general for technical analysis, there are two really important levels. One is 0.618, which is called the golden ratio. The other one is 0.786, which if you break 0.786, most likely you're going to end up making all-time high and beyond, or above the previous cycle high in this particular case and beyond. If you're able to break about the 0.786, we just weren't ready yet. Why weren't we ready? Well, there's a lot of confluence here, the 0.786 here for CleanSpark, because you have a really thick Ichimoku cloud over here, and I'm getting rejected here at 0.786, and a very thick Ichimoku cloud. But overall, I just cannot be that bearish on this chart. This is all CleanSpark's been doing. It's been breaking 3 Fib levels, backtest 1, breaking 4 Fib levels, backtesting 2, right? Like, this is a very bullish chart. It's making higher highs and higher lows. Like, I cannot be bearish on this chart. But the 0.76 seems to be a very important level. Even up here, this is like the top of the Ichimoku clouds, right? At 0.786, right? I do think that we need to break above these 0.618 and 0.786 before going up higher to really get to some of the crazier targets up above. We have a tweezer here. This is another reason why I think that we've bottomed on the monthly chart, right? Tweezer, triple tweezer, like a fork, if you will. You have all these wicks down below. Like, these are very bottomy looking candle formations here on the monthly across a lot of different miners, right? But going back to CleanSpark, 0.76 is going to be a very important level. If you break above that, man, you're talking about it just kind of goes crazy, right? Have we been able to do that? No. We had to cool down because we just went through multiple Fib levels, and we just had to kind of back test some of the lower Fib levels, and again, angle over here, flip it from resistance to support before going up higher. I if you're able to break above the 21 here, I do think some of the higher arcs up here, like triple digits, I think is possible for a clean spark. Even up here, like 200, I think is possible too. I think it's going to hit 300. I doubt it. Okay, but I do want to see it break about the 0.786. If it's able to break about the 0.786, then you're getting to this arc over here. Triple digit clean spark either ends at 100 or 200, right? Mara. Why is 786 important? Well, it's also the top of the Ichimoku cloud over here. If you're able to break about the 786, then you're talking about gravitating up to maybe the next arc right here, right? Where's the next arc going to be? Well, it depends on where it hits. If it ends up hitting somewhere around late 2025, it could be like $300 Mara. Like, this is ridiculous, right? Does it have to do that? No. Like, if it hits the horizontal over here, $136, if that's where it ends, I'll be extremely happy if it ends up doing that. But I think it will do that if it ends up breaking about the 0.786, which is the top of the monthly Ichimoku cloud, right? But it has to do that first. If it breaks through, great. If not, end of cycle, right? That's pretty much what I'm seeing here. Bitfarms, why is the 0.786 important? That's also the top of the monthly Ichimoku cloud, right? If you're able to break through the 0.786 here, by the way, if I do a little bit of a lower time frame here, like, I think Bitfarm actually is a very, very bullish chart, because you're basically talking about you had got rejected here at the arc, and you break through, you back tested the arc. Right now you're above the arc. So this is actually a very, very bullish look. But anyway, going back to the monthly here, 0.786, top of the Ichimoku cloud. Break above the top of the Ichimoku cloud, going higher, right? You might be breaking this arc over here if it breaks above the 0.786, and you can go up to previous all-time high. You can go up to this horizontal level over here around 18, 19, or you can even grab it up to the arc over here, which is around $30. Do I think it's going to hit the 1.618 here on the logarithmic Fibonacci extension? No, I think that's insane, right? But I can potentially see it hitting some of the levels up here if it's able to break about the 0.786. If it breaks about 0.786, like all things would let loose, right? What happened here with Cypher? Well, it got rejected here last time. Where that's at the 0.786. It was able to break about the 0.786. By the way, this is like the top of the 2-week Ichimoku cloud, right? If you're able to break above the 0.786, then you're talking about all-time highs. Then you're talking about this arc up here, maybe $30, maybe $50. If you're not able to do that, end of cycle, right? So those are the bigger miners. You're talking about some of the other ones that I also pay attention to. I also have a position in Iron. Iron's been more just gotten rejected at 0.5 just because it made a very vicious move down in 2022. It's just been trying to gravitate back up to like the 0.5. That's what it's been doing. Wolf, same thing, just been trying to gravitate back and trying to break the 0.5 here. But it's because it had an absolutely vicious downtrend in 2022. So these fit levels may not be as accurate for these, and they also weren't really truly miners any before that. So I'm not sure whether or not these fit levels are going to be as accurate, if you will. But my point is that if you break about the 0.786 for a lot of these server miners, then you're talking about things getting really fun. Do I think we have enough energy to break through? Well, it depends on two things. Thing number one is IWM going to make all-time highs? It looks like it's going to, doesn't it? It looks like it really wants to push through and make all-time highs. Where's the all-time high going to be? Above 244.46. Where are we at right now? 222.89. What kind of formation do we have right now? We have a Katana and a Tenkan Kijin expansion. These things basically tells you that things are going to go a lot higher. The only exception to IWM that didn't happen was really here when we had COVID. Even with COVID, eventually a year later, we're much higher. We had a crossover here with an expansion, much higher. We had a crossover here, an expansion, much higher, right? These things are, like, the Katana here is no joke. I mean, I keep talking about Katanas. Like, maybe I should make an updated video talking about, like, Katanas all day. I can talk about Katanas all day. These things are basically telling you a big power move is going to happen. And that's going to play out whenever you have the expansion of the Tenkan Kijin. I think IWM is going to go a lot higher, and I think that it would shock a lot of people if IWM hits the arc up here. then I think the miners could hit the higher arcs that that I'm speculating. If Bitcoin behaves, Bitcoin's going to be the other catalyst. If Bitcoin behaves, if Bitcoin does what we want it to do, which by the way I think we will, because if you just look at a wave trend oscillator on the monthly, it looks like it's trying to flip positive here. It's already flipped positive here on the 2-week. It's already very positive here on the weekly. It looks like monthly really wants to flip. And it also looks like on the monthly, all it's doing right now has been riding the blue line up. And that's what a bull market does. It rides the Tenkan, the blue line up. And it looks like it just wants to keep doing that. So if it wants to keep doing that, how high can Bitcoin go? I think the sky's the limit here. I mean, I could speculate some of the higher arcs up here. But I don't really know. Like, this is like price exploration territory. I can draw a different game trying to speculate. I did that many different times. There are a lot of different targets that I could end up looking at, like, but I'm just going to be a little bit more conservative here. All I'm going to say is if Bitcoin hits triple digits, if Bitcoin hits the next arc up here, or the arc after that, then you're talking about miners hitting their next arc and their arc after that. I'm just gonna leave it as that. Anyway, the video is getting a little bit long. I just kind of wanted to share with you to summarize. I think that Bitcoin's going higher in a higher time frame. I think that MicroStrategy is going higher in a higher time frame, although it might end up not as impressive moving forward compared to the Bitcoin miners. I think that the miners have bottomed. At least the larger cap miners have bottomed. And I think that they could go insane if IWM hits all-time highs and hits the 300s. And if Bitcoin gets into 6 digits, I think the miners are going to go insane. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to this video. All of this are just speculation. I'm based on all of this based on previous cycle, based on technical analysis, based on the fact that global liquidity is rising. Global liquidity is rising. And we have just broken through a trend line here. We've just broken through this line over here. Global liquidity is rising. What happened last time global liquidity was rising and you had a trend line breakout? Bitcoin went crazy. Bitcoin went crazy. So I guess we're just gonna have to sit back and see what's gonna happen and take it from there. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good one. Bye.